And that's kind of one more reason, not just in convincing the left, but even in convincing some elements of what people might call the new right, of the not of the fact that the old neoliberal consensus was right on everything, but the fact that you would go in the wrong direction if you simply tried to embrace the methods of the left of government protectionism and nanny statism, that doesn't work even for the very people you're supposedly trying to save. And that's, I think, one of the underappreciated relevance, one of the underappreciated ways in which your work is particularly relevant for the conservative movement and where we are right now.
Yeah, I think that this is one of the reasons why I moved away from using the term libertarian to refer to myself, and am trying to be a part of the movement to reinvigorate the term classical liberal, because classical liberalism historically has a minimal but very well put together concept of the role of the state, right? And so the state is small, but you have, the beauty of the constitutional order and the separation of powers and appreciation for all that entails. The importance of, public goods are real, externalities problems are real. And so you need the state to address those. The term libertarian over time started to mean something like anti-state, right? No role for the state at all, which is never what I thought it meant when I took it on as a young woman. And so now I say classical liberal simply to go back to that thicker, richer philosophical tradition, that Scottish Enlightenment tradition that understood the importance of custom and tradition, right? That overlaps so well with conservatism classically understood.
Right.
And I think if we can re-present that to conservatives, we can say, of course, there are reasonable limits on these things. Don't let the pendulum swing so far the other way that you give up on the amazing riches that have come from, just wealth and flourishing that has come from the rise of global markets.
Yeah, look, I think you raise a great point. One of my concerns about the rise of economic protectionism as a new form of identity on the American right, but one of my frustrations with what the libertarian movement, at least that label, has become, is that there is no vision for, even if we got to a place where the individual is so free of government intervention, okay, what then, right? There's still the separate question of human flourishing. As you talked about, a lot of the focus of your work is how do you rebuild that through civil society, maybe even through philanthropy of the right kind. Whereas I think the classical libertarian, or at least the modern libertarian view, is so obsessed at the margins with really focusing only on the absence of state intervention that it has no theory of the case for what comes after. We're free of government in our hair. What then? How do we actually live purposeful, meaningful lives, both at the level of individual and community? That I think older versions of our classical libertarians, the Hayeks of the world, have been far more thoughtful about that more holistic vision, that I think we have a little bit of a bastardized version of even the Mises or Hayek or whatever that remains, for much more of a libertarian obsession with, okay, well, open borders require the state to enforce, therefore I'm against that, as opposed to asking the broader question of, once you've removed the state, at least out of my life as a citizen, from limiting what I can do, how then can I actually build up as a citizen, how I can live a flourishing life? And so, as much as I have my frustrations with the rise of economic protectionism in the conservative movement, I think those are some of my frustrations with the label, at least what the modern libertarian label has become. And in that sense, I think we probably share something in common, you and I, in that sense.